It started as the truly awful things often do in the most mundane of places, a coffee shop on a Tuesday. I was waiting for my latte, scrolling through the meaningless void on my phone, when I saw him. Liam. My best friend since we were 6. He was sitting 2 tables away, staring out the rainy window, a cup of black coffee untouched in front of him. "Liam!" I called out, grinning. "What are you doing here? Thought you were laid up with that flu." He didn't turn. It was loud, so I called his name again. This time, his head rotated towards me with a slowness that felt unnatural, mechanical. And he just looked at me. There was no spark of recognition, no friendly smile. Nothing. His eyes, Liam's familiar blue eyes, were utterly vacant. They were like polished glass marbles reflecting the room but holding nothing behind them. The sight sent a cold spike of unease down my spine. I took a step towards him, my smile faltering, and he simply turned his head back to the window. My phone buzzed in my hand. It was a text from the real Liam. "Dude, this flu is killing me. Can you pick up some soup on your way home?" I looked back at the table. The man who looked exactly like my sick friend was gone. That was the first tear in the fabric of my world. A week later, I saw Professor Albright, my old college history professor, working as a street sweeper. It was him, right down to the tweed jacket and the small scar above his eyebrow. But he moved with a shambling gait, his eyes fixed on the gutter, sweeping debris with a numb, repetitive motion. I knew for a fact he'd retired to Florida 3 years ago. When I tried to speak to him, he just stared through me, his gaze as empty as the Liam in the coffee shop. He was a perfect vessel, containing nothing. The paranoia began to set in, a slow-growing mold in the dark corners of my mind. I started scrutinizing faces in every crowd, my heart hammering whenever I saw a familiar feature. The world became a twisted gallery of replicas, of empty people wearing the faces of those I knew. My friends said I was stressed. Liam, now recovered, told me I needed to see someone, that I was letting my imagination get the better of me. They didn't understand. They couldn't see the hollow men walking among us. The breaking point came last Thursday. I was on the bus home, the city lights smearing past the windows. At a stop, a woman got on. It was my mother. My heart seized in my chest. She was wearing a red coat I'd never seen, and she clutched a bus pass, something she hadn't used in 20 years since she moved to the suburbs. I called out, "Mom?" She looked right at me. And for a terrifying, split second, a thin, cold smile touched her lips. It wasn't my mother's smile. It was a predator's smile, a look of grim satisfaction. Then it was gone, replaced by that same terrifying emptiness as all the others. She sat down 3 rows ahead and never looked back. I scrambled for my phone, my fingers trembling so badly I could barely dial. "Hello?" My real mother's voice, warm and concerned, answered from her quiet suburban home 60 miles away. "Alex, is everything okay?" I started taking pictures, trying to capture proof, but they always came out blurry, or the replica would be gone by the time I focused. My life began to shrink. I avoided public places. I stopped answering calls from numbers I didn't recognize. The world outside my apartment felt like a hostile stage, and I was the only one who could see the actors were just mannequins. Last night, I finally decided I couldn't live like this. I had to get away, leave the city, go somewhere I knew no one. I packed a bag, my hands shaking, my mind a screaming chorus of fear. I opened my apartment door and stepped into the hallway, and there he was, walking towards me from the direction of the elevator. He looked exactly like me. He wore my favorite jacket, had my exact gait, the same tired look in his eyes I'd seen in the mirror that morning. But as he drew closer, I saw the difference. His eyes. They were mine, but they were wrong. They were hollow. He stopped a few feet away from me, a faint, clinical curiosity on his face. He held up a set of keys. My keys. "You've been out long enough," he said, and his voice was a perfect imitation of my own, but flat, devoid of emotion. "It's my turn now." He didn't attack me. He just stepped around me, unlocked my apartment door, my door, and walked inside. I heard the lock click shut behind him. I stood frozen in the hallway, the sound echoing in the sudden crushing silence. The bag fell from my hand. He's in my home. He has my life. And I am out here. The echo. The copy that ran too far. Who am I supposed to be now?